They're right about Nyes. This is awesome. This is my hometown. Hi, I'm Molly. Hi. I'm going to talk today about architecture machines. Before the MIT Media Lab became the Media Lab, it was, well, partly the Architecture Machine Group, started by Nicholas Negroponte and Leon Goissier in 1968 or so. And Negroponte described it as a book, a curriculum, another book, and in fact dedicated this whole set of things that he described it as to the first machine that can appreciate the gesture. And I think it's worth asking, what is the nature of that gesture? So again, Architecture Machine Group, founded by Negroponte, there's always a gesture. If you see a picture of him, he's pointing, he's touching himself, he's doing something. But there's always Negroponte, and he's indicating at something, and there's a gesture. He believed bodies were our interfaces, interfaces were our bodies, and he was really interested in kind of bridging that gap. So the Architecture Machine Group started in a kind of out-of-the-way corner in Building 9 at MIT. Looked like this, a lot of microcomputers, not huge project Mac mainframes, a lot of robotic parts, a lot of things that rolled over, other things, and we'll look more at that in a second. Barber chairs, strange space salvage, a lot of making. By, I guess, 1975, there'd been 100 ArcMac enthusiasts, so students from architecture, students from engineering, and kind of professors from all over, as well as a really close connection to the AI group, the AI lab, and the engineering schools at MIT. They did a lot of their work for the Office of Naval Research and ARPA in class. These are some of the papers that they did over the years. This is Urban 5. This was Negroponte and Grossier's computer-aided design program. Light pen, 10-foot cubes, dialogue, and buttons, including something that says panic if it got really bad. It was a failure. It failed in 1970. Wrote a great deal about that. But then there's this. This is Seek, and what you see here are mirrored cubes, a claw, and gerbils. And the point of this, 500 cubes and a machine whose job it was to try to bring them together, and the gerbils would set them apart. Indeed, it's life in a computerized environment. For a lot of reasons, it was a failure, and I'll get into it in a second. But the idea here is the gerbils, it was sort of a simulation of a city, in a sense. It had an impact on other things, like Cedric Price's generator project, which you see a rendering of up here. And the idea of a machine that should kick you back, any good system should kick you back, is something that John Fraser said. He had boredom programs that would run with generator. So back to the gerbils, this is from one of the reports about it. And anyway, Seek was a failure for a number of reasons. The gerbils fought, but really, the claw tended to kill the gerbils. It puts the user in kind of a tricky place, doesn't it? And it makes you wonder really what the gesture is. This is a project called Interact by the Urban Systems Lab at MIT, where these Black South Boston residents would have a conversation with the teletype machine that they were told was a computer on the other end. You'll notice this says tenant power. It wasn't an unbiased machine, it was a white man. Anyway. Moving into some of the other types of things, simulations and overlays on the world, Mapping by Yourself, 1978, project for, I think, ONR. I'm forgetting at this point, I don't have any notes, but it was a set of simulations and overlays, transparent maps, haptic maps, sound maps, and things that looked a lot like an iPad, while still being in a situation where you've got an IBM Selectric typewriter and a push-button phone. But the idea was you could tilt it back and forth, and that eventually you might have maps and machines that were maybe the size of a pack of cigarettes. Then they get to a point where they're starting to create rooms that envelop their users. And so what you have here is the media room, which housed the spatial data management system. It had two really kind of cool interfaces. This one is put that there, put that pink dot, and the system would say, where? And you'd say, there, or put the red battleship by Havana. Kind of reminds me of Dream Machines and Computer Lib from Ted Nelson. And you'll notice that he's sitting in this Eames chair, and they actually doctored this Eames chair to have joypads that you would use to zoom in and out. Here you see, this is from the Architecture Machine Group newsletter, and these are some sketches of what they thought it would be in Negroponte, sitting in the Eames chair itself with his data tablet. This is the Aspen movie map, probably the best known thing that that was done in the spatial data management system. You could zoom in and out using optical video disc images and navigate through Aspen, Colorado. The military interest in something like this, of course, would be simulation and battlefield simulation. But even by the time they get to the Media Lab, they're starting to talk about the possibility of this, if you can see it, it's the building as a medium, and how a building could be created to be a medium that could somehow interface with its users. So E15 was like that. So getting back to this, first machine that can appreciate the gesture. To quote Ted Nelson in the software show, our bodies are hardware, our behavior software. And so my question is, would we appreciate the machine's gesture? Thank you.